So, unfortunately, we had a late season freeze. That's one of the downsides of living in this part of Florida, in the Panhandle. You can have your last freeze anywhere from February to early April, and well, looks like I miscalculated a little bit. Unfortunately, this means I'm gonna have to replant all these. These were tomato plants that I had sprouted myself early season in my workshop, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to resort to using pre-grown plants from the store. I don't usually like doing that, but I don't have enough time to germinate new tomatoes and get them in the ground before it gets too hot. They just won't produce at that point. I'm going to do my best to showcase, make the best of this disaster on how I plant my tomatoes, how I transfer them. Next season, I'll do a whole run on how I get my seeds and stuff germinated. But for right now, I'm going to set up the camera near one of my planting spots and show you the process that I use to transfer them. So, as we can see, this poor little plant, everything is dead and wilted on it. It may be able to recover, but unfortunately in Florida, once it starts getting hot, that's going to be impossible. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this particular plant. Irrigation filter out of the way. Use this particular plant. Not to lose too much of the dirt and the mulch. Fortunately, tomatoes do not enjoy the cold. So I'm going to grab one of my new plants, as we see here. One thing we should go over about tomatoes when we're getting ready to transfer them is if you look along the stem of a tomato, it looks like it's hairs. It's got these little shiny hairs all over it. And the way a tomato plant grows in the wild, before we started cultivating them, is they get so tall, they would fall over, and then these hairs would sprout new roots. So what I do when I plant my tomatoes is I deep plant them. And the way I do that is I get my hole ready, like so. A little deeper than you think it needs to be. Like that. Put a little organic, all-purpose fertilizer in the base. Not a bunch, just enough for the roots to grow out to when they're ready. And just a pinch of Epsom salt. Now you might say, salt? What are you putting salt in there for? Well, Epsom salt isn't actually salt. It's magnesium sulfate. So it adds magnesium and sulfur to the ground, which is good for the root structure. So, once you got the base of the hole prepped, I'm going to take my plant, and I actually use these to seed and germinate my own seeds in, because they're just really easy to use. Pull it out. Now, at the base of this, I'm actually going to snip and pinch these two off, because any branches that are really close to the ground, those will increase the probability that you'll get like blight and all different kinds of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm not quite as deep as I would like. I'm going to remove just a little bit more. I'm going to bury it all the way up to where I snapped those off. And all those hairs on that stem that I'm burying will turn into roots and increase the roots availability, how much water it can get, how many nutrients, so on. And they just grow a whole lot better. And when I get my hanging supports built, probably this weekend, I'll show you how I plan to stake a twine and wrap a twine around it as it grows as a vine. And we'll go over pruning them as well too while I'm doing that. Now, I'm not going to go into that right now, mainly because I don't have a whole lot of sunlight to get all these in. So that's how I plant them. Deep planted, base stems taken off. And next part of the video, I'm just gonna set the camera up and let you watch me get the rest of them in. So enjoy the show. everything's back in the ground. Not a moment too soon too, because when I was working on those last two, the irrigation started. So you can see I won't have to water them in because the irrigation is going to do that for me. But if anybody's got any questions, any tips, or if you think that I did something egregiously wrong, be free to let me know in the comments. Otherwise, that's how you put your tomato plants in the ground. And look forward to showing you how they come out throughout the season.